Way to go, Tobin.
Welcome everyone, I'm Tobin, this is Pearl.
Hi, Pearl.
We have water buffaloes and we're going to talk to you about them.
Yes, thank you for coming to our presentation, and we're really excited to talk about these unique animals. They're water buffalo, and here we are in the alpine desert, so it's pretty unique to have them. Okay, so we're going to go over a brief history of the water buffalo, and then we'll talk about our story. We'll talk about some differences between cows, cattle, and water buffalo, and then we'll talk a little bit about, why are we even doing any of this? Why? That's usually the number one question. We will address the why. So, water buffalo are originally from Asia. They've been domesticated for about 5,000 to 7,000 years, so they are not new to the scene. Again, they're from Asia, so it's been many, many years that the Asians have worked with water buffalo, but it's newer to the New World, the Americas and all of that. So wild water buffalo are known as Bubulus arni, and the domestic water buffalo, which is what we have and what you will see in America and other countries that are part of the livestock, is called Bubulus bubulus. Yeah, that's a fun one, so your good old movies. sorry. This is being recorded, but yes. Too late.
That doesn't get edited.
Yeah, it doesn't get edited. This is live here. Okay, so there's different kinds of water buffaloes. There's the swamp and the river. And there's some key differences between them. The river buffalo are mainly found in the lowlands, and they're really great for dairy production. And they tend to do better on hay, which is great. They also tend to have more hair. So the swamp buffaloes are more in the rugged landscapes, wet environments, and they're just more adapted to harsher climates, and they're better as draft animals. And if you look at their skin, they tend to have less hair, and it looks more like, almost like what a hippopotamus or a rhino might look like, just more skin versus furriness. Okay, so we have the river buffalo because we didn't know what kind of buffalo they were, but fortunately they turned out to be river buffalo. Because that's all we've got. We got hay, and we produce. Okay, so water buffalo are the true buffalo. This was very confusing for myself for many, many years. Someone once told me that there is no such, like there are no American buffalo. And I used to think, what does that mean? Did the white man hunt them to extinction? It was like, because with the Native Americans, and I was like, wow, so what do we see? Is that like an offshoot, the bison and all of that? So for many years I was very confused. It wasn't until we got water buffalo that this finally became clear for me. So it's a misnomer. The American quote-unquote buffalo are actually bison. So the true buffalo are the water buffaloes. So really the CU buffs are the CU bison. Or they can call us up and we can get them a new mascot. So, this is what you think of when you think, or what people think of typically when they hear buffalo. And no, this is actually bison, so that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so who knew? I did not know for many years, but I was happy and relieved to find out that the American buffalo was not some creature that became extinct that looked like bison. They are one and the same. So water buffaloes are of the Bovidae family. So Bovidae are also going to be your yaks. Is Peggy here by chance? No, she didn't make it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, she did.
Great. Okay, so she probably knows about this maybe more than we do, even, or her husband. Yak are also Bovidae, and so are bison that we just talked about. But the water buffalo are actually more distantly related. So even though they're all in the Bovidae family, they cannot cross with cattle or yaks. Cattle and yak and bison can actually crossbreed with limited success with each other. but you cannot do that with the water buffalo. So this was actually something we were curious about at one point, because we have dairy cow as well, and we wanted to be able to breed so we can have milk, and we're like, well, if we have a water buffalo bull, would that solve the situation? No, it will not, because they cannot crossbreed. And I think there was a question, okay, let's go on to the next slide. So water buffalo are from Asia, and they are not to be confused with these guys down here. Oops, sorry. They are not to be confused with the Cape buffalo. Cape buffalo are the ones you typically think of when you watch the National Geographic and all of that. The Cape buffalo are from Africa. And one of the key ways you can tell the difference is,
Horn.
yeah. They have this kind of goofy looking part in the middle. So, it looks like they parted their hair. So that's the classic Cape buffalo. Water buffalo did not have that. Cape buffalo are very, very aggressive, and they cannot, they have not been domesticated. So I don't even know of anyone who have Cape buffalo in North America other than maybe the zoo, right?
Okay, so our story, we decided to get goats first. That didn't work out. And we got cows, and we were milking the cows. But then we found someone in Penrose with a huge menagerie. He had camels, he had a zonkey, he had birds, he had white bison, and he was getting old, and his family didn't want to take care of the animals when he left us. So he had a fire sale, and we picked up these wonderful buffaloes. We got 2 females and a male, and the story is they came from Canyon City. The penitentiary there had some water buffalo program where they were doing cheese, and you can still go online and see their website, and it says they're active, but I don't think they are anymore. Anyways, that's where these came from. They were bottle babies, which means the humans fed them bottles, and so as a result, they're very friendly. This is a female. Her name is Shanta, which is Sanskrit for
Calm. We needed to invoke lots of calm energy from these. So yeah.
Here's the bull. His name is Buffaroo. And then we have the Buttercup, who is making an appearance there and there.
Yeah, and that's Shanta.
Yeah.
How old were they?
Oh, yes. So they were, in this picture, the females were 2 and the bull was 3. So that was almost a year ago. So now they're 3 and 4. Females are 3.
Are they
bulls
always
4.
the dark color? Or?
Yes, that's a good question. They're consistently this color. You might once in a while find like a white one, which kind of looks more like a light brown color, but for the most part, consistency across the species.
I see.
Yeah, dark black skin with the dark fur, brownish black fur. Yeah, but you don't have the variation like you see in cattle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And their horns, does she have horns?
Yes,
Or are they cut?
she has horns. It's just we're completely face on, but
Okay,
this is Shanta here, so you could see her horns
they're
here.
just not huge.
Yeah,
Yet.
they're much huge. Yeah, not yet. She's only,
Oh, not
she's
yet.
probably only a year and a half or 2 in this picture. So they're much bigger than that right now as a 3-year-old. And his horns, there's a lot of shadow in here, so you can't quite see, but his horns are big. They're thick. So they're probably 2 or 3 times as big as the female's horns.
How many are they?
Great question. So male, oops, sorry about that. Ours, we guess our bull to be about 1,800 or 2,000 pounds. That's a guess. They're known to be as heavy as 2,600, and then the wild variety are heavier than the domestic variety. The females look like they're 1,200 pounds, and they're just really, they're just really
Stocky.
thick. Yeah, there's lots of love.
They have great personality.
Exactly. Look at that. doesn't find a nice unibrow attractive? So yes, she's not taller than the dairy cow, but she's just, so I'll give you an example. We were needing to figure something out, and we were looking at their ankles to see about some restraints. And, you know, cow ankle is like that. Okay, that's about your equivalent to your ankle there. And water buffalo is like that, so it's like 3 times as thick. They're just pure muscle. And they can actually, I think they can sprint up to 35 miles per hour. They're
They
so-
are fast.
They are fast. Don't let them fool you. Yeah, there are videos out there of them protecting themselves from large predator cats, and you'll just see they just get from one end to the other super quick to charge at the predators. Yeah. And he doesn't like cats at all. The ladies are like, oh, what's this? I'm curious. A cat comes around and he starts, showing his protectiveness. Okay. Any other questions about
What
these
is
particular
their
ones?
verbal noise? Like, I mean, do they?
Oh, yeah, we're actually going to get to that. Do you want to
Okay.
reveal it now? Okay. Okay, we'll actually cover that,
Yeah,
and we'll see how good our impressions are.
So you're milking them and getting cheese, but so they don't have to be have babies in order to produce?
They do. That's
Ah.
from that's pretty much across the board. Yeah, they have to be bred, and so that's why with the cows we were trying to figure out a situation. But yes, they do have to be bred. So the 2 females with the bull together, they're not related.
Mhm.
So it's an unrelated bull, and so yeah, the plan is to breed them each year. So at this point, when we got them, this was this time last year. They were pregnant this time last year.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, yes, and cover some of that. Any other questions about our water buffalo or water buffalo? Up to this point, we'll cover some more stuff, but anything? No? Okay. All right. So why have them? I guess we already know because we brought the cheese. So we got them because of their milk. Their milk is amazing. So unbeknownst to me, until this time last year, Tobin was doing some research. We were looking for another dairy animal, and he's like, well, what about our buffalo? I hear their milk is amazing. Turns out their milk has 3 times the butter fat. Okay, so if you're looking at like store milk, those come from Holstein cows, and that butter fat percentage is usually around 3.25 to 3.75. Once you get into Jerseys, which is pretty much your highest butter fat on average dairy cow, that's about 5.5, maybe up to 6. Now, there are individual world record holders that go higher than that. Okay, goats tend to have on that higher range, 5 to 6. Sheep, Clune Forest sheep, can have up to 8 to 9% butter fat. Okay, so I wanted a Clune Forest sheep for a minute there, until I found out water buffalo have between 10 to 16%. Okay, so they have 3 times the butter fat. They have more protein, they have more calcium and iron. They have lower cholesterol, but you actually need a certain amount of cholesterol if anyone's interested in lower cholesterol. They also provide milk that's lower in cholesterol. But I just want to let you know that you do actually need cholesterol. Your hormone system and all of that uses cholesterol to...
Your brain is mostly cholesterol.
Your brain is fat. Your brain is fat.
So if you want a good
You
brain.
need healthy fat. Yeah, we're gonna caveat that with healthy cholesterol,
Who's a fan?
healthy fat, right? Okay, and let's see. So yeah, half and half milk is about the same percentage. So if you look up butter fat in half and half, I believe it's somewhere in the 10 to 14, 16% range. So their milk is kind of like half and half on tap. And so the Italians have known this for quite some time, and they make something called mozzarella di bufala, and maybe some of you guys have heard of that. Original mozzarella is from water buffalo milk. It's only because of economy that they went to cow milk here in America.
You're advertising things.
What I can do now that I do water buffalo.
And that bull is so friendly. He wants to be petted. He wants to stand next to you. He wants treats. I started sitting on him, and I didn't know what to do at first, but he just stood there, so I started petting him, and he just kept standing there. I'm like, maybe I could stand on the guy. So I got up on him and stood on him.
Yeah, and he enjoys it.
So how tall is he versus how tall you are? Where does he come?
That's- yeah.
His head is about here.
Oh,
He's not super tall, he's just like a tank sideways.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
so,
just-
so you're saying he's like 5 feet any way you measure him?
Yeah, he's a ball of muscle.
5 foot square. We brought some cheese today, Asiago. It's cut up in the back. Make sure you grab some if you haven't already. Sample it. It's made from water buffalo milk. About a month ago we made it. Anything else? We also make farmer's cheese. So there's a simple cheese we can make that gets ready much quicker, maybe a week or two. And it's real simple. We just dip it in and let it dry out a little bit. It gets a nice little tangy flavor, kind of cheddary. So we have that too. So these cheeses are both available at Local Roots in Walsenburg, the food store on the way in.
So how long was the Asiago age?
This one was about 6 weeks.
6 weeks for that Asiago. Very good.
On the early end, we can do 1 month, so 4 weeks, but it'll be a very mild Asiago. And then as it continues to mature, it'll become more and more flavorful, more of that like Parmesan-y kind of, the typical Asiago you might get at the store. So yeah, this one's 6 weeks.
Question, had you made cheese before, or are you self-taught, or how did you?
Self-taught, been making cheese since July of 2024, so just a year and a half, not super long. But you know, you get through that learning curve quick when you're making cheese 3-4 times a week. So it's not like, oh, I'll just make one this quarter and this season. It's like, okay, you got 6 gallons of milk. What are you gonna do today?
Here's your task.
Yes, so far we've made 3 kinds of cheeses, and we're gonna try blue cheese next.
Buffalo blue, doesn't that sound good?
yeah.
I mean, can I get a show of hands? How many people like blue cheese? Okay, cool.
My neighborhood first.
Okay. Because sometimes I like to test people. I'm like,
Really?
do you like blue cheese? Because if you like blue cheese, you probably like all cheeses.
Yeah, right?
Okay. So yes, interesting. So 98% of the world's population of water buffalo are in Asia. Of that 2%, the remaining 98% are in Italy. So that's how much they like water buffalo milk. So basically, yeah, it's made in mozzarella, burrata. I've actually never had burrata myself, but I've had a few people tell me about burrata and how amazing it is. But that's a pretty advanced, it looks like an advanced recipe.
Yeah, burrata is a cheese with a soft center
Soft
and a hard outside. It's the bottom right picture in that picture there, called burrata.
Yeah, there's some cool videos out there too that this Italian producer was talking about. Their whole operation is making mozzarella di bufala, and so the typical production is about 1/3 of cows. That's typical. That's not really the case on our farm, but most commercial dairy cows produce quite a bit. So they can even, I've heard they can produce 16 gallons in a day, some of those Holstein cows. Yeah, Holsteins are your typical classic cow, the white cow with the black spots. They're really high production. But with water buffalo, the guy was Italian, so it was about 6 to 8 liters.
Yeah,
6 to 8 liters. What is that, 2 gallons?
it's about, he said about 2 gallons a day, and we get 1.5 gallons milking once a day
Yeah.
from each buffalo.
Once a day is nice.
Yeah. Let's milk the cow.
Goats twice a day.
Exactly. So their temperament and personalities, they're very, very friendly, which we've mentioned. They actually want your attention. Like, they want pettings, and they'll come to you even if you don't have treats. With the cattle and other animals, we kind of have to bribe them to come to us, to let us touch them. So every type of animal's got their own personality. But water buffalo, they want to be with you. They're kind of like big Labrador retrievers. You know? Can I be with you? So 2 or 1 at a time. So we went ahead and picked up Shanta, who you saw, her big close-up face. So we have Shanta in with the cows, so she's not lonely. She doesn't want anything to do with the cows. She doesn't, I mean, she's neutral with them. We walk away for a little bit, and we just hear ramming against the cow corral. The cows don't do that, but the water buffalo Shanta, she's just ramming that corral. She's moving it. She's moving the entire corral. I was like, oh my gosh, you got to park the truck in front of the corral to block her. We walked down there. I was like, what's going on, Shanta? She immediately calms down. She just wanted us to be next to her. I'm good now. So we got into the corral with her a couple of times, and friendly enough, but it's intimidating when a 1,200-pound water buffalo is, lapping towards you like they want to jump in your lap. And she's definitely got horns. And so I don't get in the corral with her anymore. He still does. Yeah. So they're a little bit feisty, individual personalities, but our one called Buttercup is very chill. Shanta is kind of the more feisty one, so she wants your attention and she wants you to pet her, but if you don't pet her in the exact way, or even if you do pet her the way she wants to be petted, she'll still want to thrust her head side to side, so you have to be careful not to get your hand smashed between her head and the gate. But she wants you there, she wants you to touch her, but she's just a little feisty, and so is the bull. The bull's a little feisty too.
Yeah. They want your attention, but then when you're there, they don't really act like they're there to cuddle with you. That looks different.
Yeah, they're cuddling. It's kind of like a bunch of bros, right? They're like, hey, so when they come up to you, they're like, hey, whack. That's not how we play. Yeah, and they're a bit curious, so more curious than the cows, not as curious as goats, but if you're doing something new, they're interested. So I think at one point I was saying they're like 40% dog, 40% hippopotamus, 10% goat, and what's the other 10% cow. For a little cow in there. And they love water, of course, so yeah, that's why they're water buffalo.
We bought them a water gun for the summertime because it's so hot and we have so little water. We're like, how can we use this little bit of water the most efficiently as possible? And water gun was the answer. They love to be sprayed right in their face.
Oh, nice.
In their noses, they get it up there, and everything. They love the water gun.
Yeah, so there was a situation where they actually got out of the corral, and if they get out,
Good luck.
yeah, if they get out, good luck. Because cattle you can drive, or if they're tame enough, you can lure. But they don't want you that much that they come towards you if they have freedom, and you can't drive them because they're not. You touch them, you poke them, they're like, yeah, do that some more. So it's like they don't come back unless they want to come back. So the 3 of them are out. We forgot the chain. We were distracted doing something. We didn't chain the gate. They pushed their way through. We're like, oh my gosh. And this is how you end up without water buffalo. So that was fun and expensive. So we're like, how do we get him back? So we had some treats. So Shanta came in for the treats. He was able to close the door on Shanta. Buffalo came in a little bit, but then he was back out. And I was like, I know. So I went to get the water gun. As soon as I got the water gun, he came all the way back. Tobin was able to close the gate on him. And then we just had Buttercup out. And I offered her food, not that interested. Offered her the water gun, not that interested. Got out the hairbrush. And she followed me all the way in. So one was with food, one was with the water and water gun, not just, yeah, and one was with the hairbrush. Yeah. And that's Buttercup, and she just had a really good mud bath. Yeah, I think we had our first good rain of the spring, and we have this seasonal pond. It's a very, very, very small pond. It's like a quarter of the size of this room. Is that right? They're the size. Anyway, no, not the one you made, the one that's there. Anyhow, filled up with water, and they really got to enjoy themselves, actually. Yeah, we used to let them out. So we thought they would just come back, and they do, but not without tearing a new hole into the fence. So we have 40 acres that's fenced off, not barbed wire, just regular wire. And we were like, well, we want them to enjoy as much of the land as possible, so we'll let them out. But they just lost their way through. So Tobin repaired it. And he's like, I'll just leave the gate open for them. But they don't use the door. Watch the new way through.
I want there.
They'll walk along the fence, looking to get through the fence, can't do it, hit a corner, they don't go around, no, all of a sudden, boom.
So
Right the corner,
really,
through the fence.
You need like a round property so they never hit. That's weird.
Does this
I
look
think we're
familiar
going
to
in
you?
circles.
Was she just here?
No, let's keep going.
It's not the same cactus we saw 20 minutes ago. Actually, so I'll tell you a little story about their escape. So we got them January, February last year. And it's like 2 weeks into this. I don't know what happened. I think I was brushing them and I thought they were going to be like cows. Like I can kind of get in and out of the gate. Well, once I got through, she wanted to get through too. And there was no stopping her, not like a cow. So she's through, the other two followed her, and they are just out completely. And we've only had them for 2-3 weeks. Enough time to know enough time to know that they're not coming back unless they want to come back. And I was just like, wow, that was fun, the whole 3 weeks that we had them.
Yeah, we thought they were gone. I went out on the dirt bike looking for them, and I went 2 miles and I was finding their tracks. They went so far, I'm like, huh, but you know what? They always turned around, and then we came back one night, we're like, you know what? They're gone.
Before you tell them, tell them about, I wanted to tell them about the animal control.
Oh,
no.
Right.
That'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
so
Well-
as part of this, so we reach out to our friend, Joanna at Local Roots, and says, can you post on Facebook that we're missing some water bottles?
Puerto County's Facebook page. Do you remember that? Okay, yes, that was us.
That was us.
Okay, so you remember that.
die.
Yeah, so we got posted on the Huerfano Facebook page that we had water buffalo missing. 5 minutes after it got posted, the phone rings, and I pick it up immediately. This is animal control. I'm actually excited for the first time in my life to hear from animal control. And she's like, did I see that right? And I was like, yes. And she started laughing. And I was so excited. And she's like, oh no, I didn't find them. I just wanted to make sure that was real, that I saw that right. And it wasn't like, and she's like, well, I've let the sheriff people know to keep their eye out. We had dinner plans that night, and we were going to tell our friends about our water buffalo. We hadn't told our friends yet. It was going to be the news that evening, but we're like, man, we're going to have sad news instead of good news. But our friends were like, on your way over, keep an eye out for missing water buffalo. Some people are missing water buffalo. And we're like, where are those people? So it's just been fun.
So we go to dinner with their friends, and we're telling the story, we're all sad, and then we come back the next day, we're like, well, there goes our water buffalo herd, it's gone. In the morning, we go down there, and they're just sitting there.
Yeah, we were just, they came back. Now, it was February, and there was like 5-6 inches of snow, so there was no food and no real water. So I think they knew where home was. They knew their resources. So I told Toby, because we were debating, do we let them out and we just leave the gate open for them so they don't bust through the fence? We toyed with that for a little bit, but then I was like, come springtime with the rain and the grass, we gotta keep them locked up because they'll have so many resources, they may not have a big motivation to come back home if they can eat grass out everywhere.
And the next day, we went to Big R.
And invested in corral panels.
Got a better corral. I dug them a pit.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, play it. So I dug them a pit in their little corral, and I let the rainwater go into it.
Nice.
Perfect.
So there they are, their hot tub.
I was gonna say the one that's sulking.
This is fun.
Yeah.
Good, Beth.
Wow.
Buffalo Spa. There you go.
Oh, that's.
So we
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, that's Buttercup.
And
So we had to sneak up like it was National Geographic because as soon as she sees us,
She comes to us.
Yeah.
She just wants to be with us. That's Buttercup.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello.
She's like, I'd rather get pettings than soak.
Look at those long eyelashes.
Yeah. They're real cool.
And I don't know if you guys saw that video, but when she got out of the pool, it created a vacuum and sucked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so- yeah, I could just do it. We're gonna watch that video again. Why not?
Got sucked over. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Shanta, and she puts her head down and she's, yeah, so just keep your eye on this guy here. He's enjoying his time.
And the vacuum in 3, 2, 1.
So he's not just rolling around, he was sucked
Sucked into the bowl.
So that was fun. And that's the thing too, they want your attention so much that they jockey and push each other to get to you. So we can get caught in the collateral damage, because if you're in the corral with them and they start getting rough to get pushy,
Yeah.
then you can get hurt. So they're not trying to hurt you, but they don't understand how fragile.
Quick question about the horns.
Yes.
Do you have to do anything with the horns to keep them moist or anything, or that kind of thing?
No,
Do they dry
it's-
out?
no, we haven't had to. That's a good question. I haven't seen that be an issue with any other farmers or ranchers. Yeah, they seem to regulate themselves okay, but they do like the water for cooling their bodies, but I don't know that they need their horns moisturized. I mean, they love getting sprayed, but yeah. Good question, good question. I'm not positive, but we don't have to do anything with their horns, and their horns look like they're in good shape.
I have a
And
question.
yes.
What diseases are they prone to get?
They're actually very, very resilient to disease, and a lot of farmers have looked into water buffalo instead of cattle because they actually don't even do any of the repertoire that they do for cattle. Dairy cattle are they're line bred, so that's a fancy way of saying inbred a little bit. But you want this bull and you want this genetic, and sometimes they're related, right? So, but in water buffalo, there's not as much of that. You can't really control their breeding, and I'll touch on that later, but you can't control their breeding as much as dairy cattle, and so my theory is that they've retained more of their natural characteristics because it's hard for us to manipulate how they breed. So I don't know of any particular disease that they're prone to like cattle are.
So they're not susceptible to picking up disease from the other wild animals like deer, elk, the wild sheep or anything?
No.
Yeah, the question was, they're not susceptible to picking up any other disease from elk or deer, wild animals.
They're not really ours are not coming into contact with them just because we have to confine them in our setup. But even the other ranchers that I've looked into, that hasn't been a concern. Yeah, and in fact, like I said, that's one of the reasons they've looked into water buffalo is the greater survival rate because they're not prone to diseases, then they don't have to spend as much money on the medical side of
So you
things.
don't vaccinate at all?
No, and they don't need to be. So like even some farms who, with their cattle, were doing that when they went to the water buffalo, they really didn't find that they needed to. We haven't done that for either cattle or water buffalo, but like I said, the other farmers, they pretty much just don't with water buffalo. Was there another question in the audience? Yes.
How big are the herds in Colorado of water buffalo?
So
I don't know that there are any others.
So there are no like wild herds, but some ranchers get like, there was one article I just read, the guy in Texas has 130 head. The Italians I think have a lot more than that. And there's one in Canada where she has a whole dairy operation as well, so she's got more than 5. So
There's another one in North Carolina, which I think is 20 plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are just stuff we find on YouTube. That's
Is
what
it
we
mostly
know.
meat or milk?
Pardon me?
Are they?
Oh, meat or
first
milk?
Meat or milk?
Look at this face, how can you, no, I'm kidding.
We plan on using them for milk.
So, so in some ranches, they are used for meat, and then a lot of the ranches they're used for dairy. Pretty much all the ones in Italy that I've come across are for dairy. But they do, I think when you're a commercial operation and the animal reaches a certain age where they're not producing the milk, they get converted to other products. That's a nice way of saying they do that.
Just slaughter.
Is there a registry?
I don't
like
know.
Jersey Registry, not that I know of. I know there is, but you know, for like Holsteins.
You know, like
and all that.
lineage
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and stuff, so like if you had a bull calf and can't milk it, so you don't wanna eat it, so would you keep it a bull and sell it?
That's a great
So
question.
another
We
breeder.
actually need to look into that. Because
That is a great
would-
question, yeah.
How large do you plan on growing your herd?
Well, 2 a year.
Uh-oh.
2
So
per
far.
year.
Oh, do they ever have twins?
Do they have twins?
It's rare,
No.
very rare, from what I read. They typically have only one. Yes, question? Oh,
What is the lifespan?
Milk by hand?
oh, sorry. Okay, yes,
So
we'll
the-
answer that.
their lifespan is
Yeah.
20 to 30?
Okay. So, yeah, in the wild, their lifespan is about 15 to 20, so that's gonna be the wild water buffalo. That's the Bubalis arni, which is a bigger breed. And the domesticated are up, what I'm reading, because, you know, we're still new to having them for our personal experience, 25 to 40 years is what I have found. But, you know, that's my whole lifetime. So we don't know. We don't know how long ours are going to live, but that's about 25 to 40 for domesticated.
And the question over here was, do they need to be milked by hand?
Only by hand, or people use machines too. If you have a herd of 100,
You can do
milk all
machine.
the goats by
You
hand.
can do machines. We started by hand
Yeah,
to train ours.
we end up- sorry. We do want to answer the questions. Yes, we have hand milked. You can hand milk, but the big operations do machine milking. Yeah. Yes, question?
And do you have to do it every day?
Those operations have to do it twice a day. So when you do commercial dairy, whether it's cattle or water buffalo, they need to be milked twice a day. Yes, we don't do it twice a day, we do it once a day. So we do something called calf shearing. We keep their calves around, so their calves will nurse off the extra milk so that they don't get too full.
So you have babies?
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler. It's-
Lots of Yes, they've had their babies.
They were pregnant when you got them.
Yes, they were pregnant when we got them, and we'll talk about gestation and all of that. I just wanted to touch on the hand milking. In the Asian countries, a lot of those people, even if they have several, they are still hand milking, so they might have 10 or 20 that they bring in at a time that they're still hand milking. So a lot of the ones in Philippines, Pakistan, like all those Asian countries, those guys are squatted down into a milk bucket, and the more like Western world, New World has been, well, not just New World, but too, the Western countries have done the machine milking. There are benefits to machine milking. I mean, it's romantic to think you're going to be out there hand milking. It's romantic. 5 minutes.
Everybody's like, yep, that's right.
I want to do this like how they did it in Grandpa's day. But with machine milking, it's a closed system, so that milk tends to last longer. It doesn't ever really go bad because real milk just becomes another product. So it becomes like a yogurt or something cultured. But you may not want that when you're reaching for it. You're thinking you want cream in your coffee or milk in your coffee and it's yogurt in your coffee. So machine milking does give that advantage. Plus, saves you work on the hands. Yeah. Yes. Look at this. Okay, so just some body language. Tobin was out there one day with his rake, and they were very interested. So he thought, just start using the rake on them, and they love it. So every time they see the rake, they come around. So their tails start in this position, and you know they're happy when their tails
Ooh, yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Like scratch him on the side, and that tail goes whoop. Okay, so other body language, head down. Head down means if they're still and their head is down by the gate, that means they're holding still for you to pet them. They want your attention. But if head down and kind of like a hoppy, that means they're getting ready to ram you.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to know this.
Yeah, and hopping around means they're excited. So if they're just like, you see them and they kind of do a little bouncy hop, that means they're very, very excited. But that could be good, like, oh, you're coming to give me attention, you're coming to give me treats, I'm excited for you to come, be with me. But it can also be bad, like, I'm excited because I'm about to ram you.
Yeah.
That's kind of their default.
Yeah,
Their
right.
default negative emotion is to ram you. Okay, we'll on to the next video.
What is it? Oh yeah, there we go. Yep. Hours, maybe 1 hour, less than an hour old, I think. I got to him right in the morning. Yep.
Yeah, so that, oh, you're okay, yeah. Yeah, you still see the bill roll.
Can you show me? I mean, how big would that
He
be?
was big. He was there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Lanky. I mean, you kind of saw him.
Wow, yeah. That's pretty big.
Yeah, maybe like 100 pounds.
His head was probably like that. I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah, just the head part.
Yeah, you're big coming out.
That's good size.
Was this their first calf?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they were
What did she have, Mom?
This one, Basil, yeah, they're both good moms. One's a little better than the other. Buttercup's a little bit better than Shanta.
Do they lick them and that kind of thing?
Yeah, they
Just like
did.
regular cows.
It's really similar to a calf, a cow
Okay.
calf. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they licked them. Though I don't know if I needed to help him get on the teat in the beginning, but I did anyway on the first one.
Okay.
And once he got on there, he was fine. He kept hunting around for it, looking for it. He probably would have found it. I don't know, but I wasn't gonna take any chances.
Yeah.
But easy calvers, we didn't have to like interfere, or I just showed up in the morning and there was a calf.
Yeah.
Standing up just like her.
Yeah, he took a little while to stand up. He laid down for a good 15 minutes, I'd say.
You got chickens out there with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we feed them grains so that the chickens dig through the manure and keep the flies down. Yeah, that's a pro tip if you
And then you
want to go ranching. We suggest that.
Yeah.
Feed them grains. Grains don't always get digested, but the chickens love them, and so they spread the manure out. The manure dries out, and then the flies can't lay their eggs. Manure.
Yeah, and maybe they'll get some larvae from the flies with their.
What will you do with the bull calf?
Her question is, what do you do with the bull
Oh,
calf?
we're gonna
And the
cover
answer is,
that.
we'll tell you.
Well, here are the bull calves. Okay, so Buttercup was the first to have hers, Motzi, and then Shanta had Basil. So Basil's the one you saw in that last video. It's the second one to come. And we were hoping for heifer calves because we're like, we're doing dairy. Also, it's a homestead, so you kind of need to justify why the animals are going to be on your land. And heifer calves, yeah, no, the bull calves, we already have a bull. What are we going to do with bull calves? So we're coming up with reasons to keep them. And just so you know, I have a whole slide about the nose ring. I don't know if anyone here feels like the nose rings are inhumane for any reason. We love animals, and animal welfare is a huge thing for me. I debated on the nose ring, but if we're going to keep them on the farm, we need them to be safe. We need them to be safe around us. And so after doing a bit of research, the nose ring is going to really help them to be trainable. And it's a safety thing. If a 1,800, 2,000 bull is coming at you, and we're probably going to steer them, so maybe they won't be quite as aggressive. But we don't know, right? And we can't really take that chance. So you you can handle them if you have that ring. Also make them more trainable, and the trainable part isn't to inflict pain, but to signal them right or left. So if you watch a lot of videos out there, especially really the Asian videos, they all have nose piercings. And when they're working with those animals, they're not yanking on their nose, they barely tap on it. The animal's trained, the animal respects that signal. So it's not about inflicting pain, but it is about safety and having them be trainable so that they can have a life on our farm, so that they don't get sold or go to the butcher and become steak. So my question, my hunter friend gave me some beef, is that pun intended? Okay, gave me some issues about the ring, and I was just like, I don't know, it sounds like you guys don't have any issues with this, but it allows them to be safe around us. And we had a time that we had to get to this, right? They're growing very, very quickly, about 4 pounds a day. So if we don't get the ring in when they're manageable, then we gamble with whether we can even get a ring into them when they're older. So we waited for a time, and then we went ahead and got them pierced, had the vet come out. She anesthetized their nose, gave local anesthetic, and it was a seamless process. And they do fine. We're out there petting them. They let us touch their nose ring, after some trust and playing with them, grooming them. They let us touch their nose ring just fine, and they're not showing any discomfort or distress or anxiety. Okay, so yeah, you're saying, what are we planning to do? Yeah.
Fuzzy tail.
Do you want to talk about your idea?
Yeah, we bought a book, How to Be a Teamster. with the two, steers and a yoke pulling a sled or a wagon. And so that's our plan. Pearl wants to ride them. As you can see, she's got her saddle. She's getting him nice and used to it.
Yeah, and they really do have their own personalities. Motzi looked at it from 5 feet away, was like, I'm not coming anywhere near that thing. I don't know what it is. It smells funny. Basil here, though, had no issues, very confident. He's a confident animal. And so he was happy to get the attention. He probably thought I was petting him back here somehow. And look, that tail's up.
Yeah.
He is happy.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if
So,
you,
when did you wean them? At what age did you?
oh,
wean
they're not
them?
weaned. They're
not
still,
weaned.
they're still nursing right now. They're,
But that has
Born in
a couple
August.
advantages. One, we don't have to milk twice a day.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
two, we can actually take a day or two vacation.
if we have
We can, we
to.
can put the mamas and the babies together, and they have water and they have food, and they're happy to see us when we get back. So that's a big quality of life thing. When you have a ranch or a dairy, those guys are there all the time, and we didn't want that.
They were born in August, so they're about 6 months old. And so we'll probably, even if they could be weaned, they probably could be weaned at 6 or 8. Some people go even earlier, but we're gonna actually try to go longer.
Are your cows bred back then?
One.
Well, she's a heifer, so she never was bred in the first place. So yeah, our dairy cow wasn't bred back, and the other cow that we're fostering isn't bred back. But the heifer calf that we got in 2024
I mean,
is
your water
a...
buffalo.
Oh, sorry.
Cows.
We don't
Yes, they are
know.
cows. So, yes. So water buffalo, well, you guys probably know this because you're out in the country, but they're also called cows, so it can be a little misleading to talk about cows versus water buffalo, because these are, the females that have had babies are also called cows. So sorry, I thought you meant our dairy cows. We don't know if they're bred back.
They probably are.
I think one might be. The bull is still somewhat interested in Buttercup. When we put him together, again, he goes after her a little bit, but a whole lot less than he used to. So fingers crossed they are. And with the gestation period, we want to make sure. What time are we at?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. No, so-
Yeah, we want to make sure there's no winter babies, but we can't really control that as much with the water buffalo. They're just going to breed back when they're ready. But we're hoping no winter babies, because if y'all have ever had animals have babies in the middle of winter, that could be heartbreaking if they don't make it. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's your game show.
Oh, yes, okay. It's game time. Cattle versus water buffalo. So what sound does a cow make? That's right, moo.
Cows don't move.
What sound does a water buffalo make?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
What is it?
Wow.
Everybody all at once.
Like,
Their tongue, what's a cattle tongue feel like?
Sandpaper.
yeah, sandpaper.
Scratchy. It's like a cat tongue. Right?
Yeah, scratchy like sandpaper.
Is it smooth?
Yes.
Ooh.
Skin color, everything.
Yeah.
Flat.
Oh.
Horns, sometimes
Yeah,
yes, sometimes no.
Yep, sometimes no.
They always have.
Polled means that genetically they don't, yeah.
Always horns. No water buffalo do not have horns. They all have horns.
And they don't get dehorned, like sometimes you'll see cows, get their
Uh-huh.
horns cut off. Water buffalo, I've never seen a water buffalo have its horns removed or cut off, like sometimes they do
It would
with
look like
cows.
a weird buffalo.
Yeah, it would, but I've had that question asked by some people, but they need their horns.
Do you ever get an albino one?
Question was any albino water buffalo? And
We haven't.
I don't think we have not.
We've seen on like Craigslist, some water buffalo that were like white. They were more like a light brown color, but they didn't have the red eyes, so they probably weren't true albino, but probably some kind of mutation because it's very
Interesting you mentioned that though, but the bull, both bull calves have a teeny tip of white on the very end of their tail. White hair. They both do. And now I've noticed that that came from our bull. So he's
Yes, the ladies know.
0.001%. Curiosity. Yeah, they're pretty curious. They're usually interested in what you're doing.
Especially if they're pet-like, which ours are.
Very curious.
Not as curious as goats, but a lot more curious than cattle.
Gestation cattle.
Can you guess for water buffalo?
11.
Close.
Here.
Close.
10.
10.
Yes.
Who guessed 10? Are yaks 10?
I don't
Oh, I didn't know if you had a advantage.
Motivation. What makes a cattle do what you want it to do? Yeah. You got a treat, or if you're walking behind them, you can guide them and they'll just go.
Yeah, because naturally, if you, like in the Teamster book, you know, if you want them to turn left, you actually touch them on the right. So they want to move away, you want them to walk forward, you touch them on the back. So they actually want to move away from the pressure point, from the touching. But water buffalo, they're like, oh yeah. Can get that spot. Yeah. So that's a huge challenge because everything in the Teamster book, it's like if you do this, they'll naturally move away. No, they're just loving it. They love you, poking them with the stick. Yeah.
Put them on TikTok.
We're like, well, then do we do the opposite? do we like touch them on the left to get them to the left? But that hasn't really proved out either.
Milk, butter, fat. We touched on this earlier. 3.5 to 6% for cows.
10 to 15.
Wow, we even had 16 come back once for one of our readings. But that varies too, right? Just like in dairy cattle, what they're eating that day, what they're going through will influence that milk for that batch.
Fencing for cattle.
It's kind of
They are not going through. No, that thing's impenetrable. You can't get through that.
So we had set up we had set up a little electrical, what is that, fencing, just that little string, it's supposed to be
It
electric.
wasn't even on.
It wasn't even on, but last year, our dairy cow, her name is Rain, her baby, whose name is Drizzle, is on the other side of that, and she's just mooing, and we're like, what's going on? She's separated from her baby, and we look over there, and the only thing keeping her from her baby is that little string. And I'm like, all right, she's respecting the fence. So maybe not all cows are like that, but maybe not beef cattle, but our dairy cows tend to respect that.
milk
Oh,
color.
wait, water buffalo you didn't cover the fencing.
Oh,
Very
well,
light yellow.
Yeah, water buffalo, the fencing just seems like they don't respect the yard, they don't respect the corral panel. In fact, we have one corral panel that is dented into a crescent. Not because he's trying to go after us, but when the cows walk by, he does not like our dairy cows for some reason, our dairy cattle. And so whenever they come by, he smashes against that part of the fence, yeah.
Wow.
yeah, yes,
It's-
Bob?
It's almost like
Cats
this.
too, it sounds like.
Yeah, he hates the cat. That's maybe an instinctual thing, but I'm like, cows? I'm like, beating up on ladies isn't cool, dude. He's like, yeah.
From me.
Go ahead,
So, yeah.
Bob.
Quick, I have to leave, quick question. First, thank you for this great presentation, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But what did the water buffalo do to be incarcerated at Canyon City?
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, milk color,
Moving right along.
like yellow.
So yeah, cows have the gene for beta carotene, so they'll put a little bit of that into their milk. So even though it looks white, if you really look at it, if you look at grass-fed milk, very healthy cows, farm-raised, they tend to have a yellowish, creamy color to them. And then Guernsey cows, interestingly, have that gene to put even more beta carotene into their milk, so their milk is golden. But water buffalo, they don't have that gene, so it should be white, white, white. Pure, yeah, pure white. I know the stuff at the store looks really white, cow milk.
There you
that's-
go, white, white, white.
Yeah.
Twice.
And
So if it's another color, does that mean that there's something wrong with them or something?
If it's water buffalo.
if it's
no,
water
yeah.
buffalo, yeah, I wouldn't know what that would, I don't know if there's been an incidence of that, but probably it would mean they are not healthy or something's
That's
going
what I
on in the
would
milk.
wonder, yeah.
Yeah. So, there's some other differences as well, but those were the highlights. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
It's
So
the word
there's-
vomit. So yeah, they're not quite as docile as cows. They're not quite as tractable in our opinion as dairy cattle, but they are trainable. You can train them. Require stronger fencing we talked about. What else? Yeah, the females and males both have horns. Oh, this is interesting. So milking them. Cows actually hold some milk in their cistern. So there's like milk just kind of ready to go once you start milking them. But with the water buffalo, it's actually stored higher up. They don't store the milk in the cistern. So there's a little more time delay for that milk to drop.
Let down.
Yeah, to let down, because they don't have that ready to go cistern storage. And then it takes a bit more pressure. I think with hand milking, you don't necessarily feel that difference, but with the machine milking, they say you might need to up the pressure just a little bit for them to give milk.
Interesting that you have to use cotton flannel.
Oh, yes.
Yes, they have sensitive teeth.
Yeah.
There you go.
They don't want the bar mop rag.
Yeah, right.
It's just a regular rag. The
Don't
cattle
just-
are fine with it, but the water buffalo, as soon as you touch them with that, they start kicking, they start fussing, and then sometimes when you lose them, it's kind of hard to get them to settle back down. And so we have learned that using soft, 100% cotton flannel, dabbing ever so lightly, and then they're happy.
So like, if you can't drag them, how do you get them from one place to another?
So far, it's been us as the physical lure.
Yeah.
Like, come here, I'll pet you.
What was that?
Get the rake out.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get out the rake, that will lure them, just our presence, or the water gun. Alfalfa,
Oh, yeah, you
will,
said that.
yeah, they will go towards the alfalfa. But we don't have them on the full 40 acres
Yeah.
that we need to. We were hoping we could do that, but,
But then I got tired of fixing fences.
yeah, exactly.
Got old pretty quick.
So, artificial insemination versus breeding. With cattle, there's a whole catalog out there. You can get semen and you could do the AI thing, and it's great. And that's what I was talking about earlier with the controlling with the breeding. So you could pick from a catalog. you want sex semen, you want Holstein, Jersey, Angus, probably, we don't know beef cattle as much, but I think there's, are you familiar, Malia, with the beef cattle AI? You guys
I
probably,
do,
yeah, you probably just had a bull.
we don't. I don't think we're actually,
Yeah, you
it's
guys.
not 100% successful.
Right. And you guys do soon that. Yeah, yeah. So I think at some point, you know, the cost to just have a bull.
It's a lot easier with bull.
Yeah, just put a bull out there. Dairy cattle are pretty notorious for being aggressive compared to beef cattle, so sometimes that's a consideration.
Dairy bulls.
Dairy bulls.
Oh, sorry, did I,
Yeah.
what did I say?
You said cattle, but you meant bulls.
Yeah.
Bulls are quite-
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the cows are very tractable, docile, easy to work with, but the dairy bulls can be very aggressive. So you might not want to have a dairy bull unless you have a big enough operation to justify. And plus there's the genetics, so he's going to have all the all the generations, so you got to swap out bulls and all of that. So AI is really great for cattle. Well, with water buffalo, AI really isn't available commercially. It's just on a research level. And there's limitations because it's not predictable when they go into their heat cycle. So you could waste quite a bit of money doing that AI. And it seems to be related to the seasonality, and there's some kind of instinct or something where the water buffalo may not be going into heat. So AI is a bust for any commercial or even private operations, really just on the research level that AI is being done with water buffalo. So for that reason, we are keeping the bull so that we can have calves each year, so we can freshen the water buffalo cows and continue to have, I don't know.
Will, you got a question?
How do they react to dogs, and is there a predator problem?
So how do they react to dogs, and is there a predator problem? They don't care for, well, the bull does not care for our dog. And then as far as predators, I don't think anything could take them down.
Yeah.
No, so no predators.
Yeah, no concern with predators, and our dog is also smart enough not to go near the water buffalo. But yeah, the bull is more protective. I think the bull calves, the cat comes around and they're fine with the cat. I think it's because they're being raised with the cat, right? Whereas the full-grown bull, all he has to go by is his instinct. So you may be able to have, if your cats are growing up with dogs nearby, they're probably fine. But our bull was already 3 years old when he came to our farm. Okay, yeah, so we'll talk about this.
So milking them, yeah. So it took about a month to get them to where they were milkable. They are food motivated, so they would follow the food into the stanchion that I built. I built like a raised stanchion, so I don't have to bend down so far. And they would kick, they would fight. They didn't really like their legs being touched or their udders being touched. But what we did is every day we would just do a little bit more. We might touch their teeth a little more. We might squeeze once or twice. And then if we went too far one day, we'd back off for a couple days, and it would just be, just treat time. They'd get to come in and have a good experience in the stanchion. But now, after about a month, they are quite happy to come in and munch their alfalfa and their grains and get milked and then head on out. They're into their routine. They're very routine oriented, so as long as it's always that way, then things are smooth. If there's a change, if there's somebody new sometimes, they might not be so agreeable, but other than that, they're quite enjoyable.
Yeah, now they are. Yeah, in the beginning, we're like, well, do we just tie the one ankle? No, we have to tie both ankles, and how do we prevent their legs from kicking? And we went through several rope. So he would have the rope on, and he's holding it. Anytime you train an animal, if they go to kick, you can't like let go of the rope, because then they learn if they kick, they can get away from you. So he's holding them, so it's back and forth, enough friction that I think 2 or 3 of our
We
ropes
broke a
actually-
lot of ropes.
Yeah, so we went to Big R and got thicker rope.
Bigger rope.
Yeah.
And now we don't really even have to tie up their legs now.
Really?
Yeah, we still do sometimes, yeah.
Well,
But we don't. They're a lot more agreeable now.
yeah, one time he tried not tying them up, and we're like, because they've come such a long way, and then that day they decided to kick.
But then recently you left one leg untied, and that was
okay.
Once in a while I get lazy and do it, but for the most part, if you just do it every day, every time, just tie them up, then everything just goes smooth.
Yeah, in the beginning though, it sometimes did feel like not 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but like 1 step forward and 2 steps back, because sometimes they were worse than the day before when we worked with them. Buttercup is very timid and very shy, and so when she was in there, she would be scared. She'd kind of go, I mean, she's fine when you're petting her, but as soon as you touch her ankle or touch her udder, she just kind of went into a little bit of a panic. So, you know, a confident animal is better than a scared animal. And so she would actually like try to lay down while we're milking her. She would get down on her front legs, get up, move around, but we're just like, no, you're not, you know, that's not a get out of jail free card just because you're acting up. But we'd have to back off a little bit, be like, all right, we're not even gonna touch her udder for a few days, and it just happens to be a happy place, just lots of brushings, lots of treats. And bit by bit, we were able to milk them. We thought we were going to have to hand milk everything, but eventually we were able to put the machine on. And we practiced a few times, you know, hand milk, flick the machine, so they hear the machine, and just work in baby step. And they also produce well on grass. I know with cattle, sometimes they need more of the grains, but water buffalo do really great on the grass. We only give them maybe a handful as a treat when they come in. Mostly alfalfa is their treat. Oh, also, I feel like milking them is more consistent than the cows. They seem to, like, even though we switch up the variables, we separate them at later times, earlier times, it seems like they're consistent on how much milk they give us, whereas the cows, the dairy cows, seem to be more varied.
now it's playtime.
It doesn't.
It's a big tennis ball.
I thought they'd be a little more interactive.
They are curious though. So, just like play with this already. I think I'm a little too short though. I'm having a hard time like.
The other ball is not their shape.
And then the other one's coming, you know, she wants to see what's going
What
on.
are you guys doing?
So, I like playing with this.
I give it to Tobin because he's just way taller. One time we had gotten one of those horse balls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but with the handle on it?
There's no handle, but it's just a big bouncy ball that the horses can kind of chase.
Like a
So,
yoga ball?
yeah, it's about the size of a yoga ball. So we went out there, and at first he just kind of sniffed it, but more or less ignored it. So I got it, you know, went back in, grabbed it, and bounced it off of his head. And he really liked it. He snorted all happy, and then he headbutted and went across the yard. He's super excited. He goes sprinting, and he is fast. And he chases that ball down, and he gets on it. He's like, he's got his like body on it, and he's like, and it pops.
Oh dear.
It was a 2-pack, but I'm like, I don't know that you get the second ball. And it was just really interesting because he continued to like make sure it was really dead. So even though it popped, he just continued to like really wrestle it. And then we were done and we were doing other things, and Tobin's like, I gotta clean up that trash, right? So, but he's not getting in there. So I think he takes a stick, reaches in there, and it's back to life. So the bull comes again. And he starts snorting and he's doing his happy thing. And he's just like so excited. It reminds me of like, you know, the matador with but it's just like broken. It was so fun. I was like, oh, I wish we would have got that on video. Maybe we have one more ball, but you know, those balls are like, I was like, cool, that $20 ball lasts 20 seconds. So, yeah, we just want to talk a little bit, like, we talked about why we're doing this for the milk, but it's like, well, why don't you just go to the store and get milk? First of all, it's hard to get water buffalo milk at the store, or any, you can't get raw milk at the store. So, we have this passion for health, and food is medicine. Real foods equal health. Raw milk is a whole food, it's very nourishing. Water buffalo milk is A2A2, and we'll just talk about that a little bit. So A2 is the type of protein that is in their milk. There's all different kinds of protein. But mammals typically just have the A2. Dairy cattle at some point, the European dairy cattle at some point had a mutation and have the A1 gene. And they get one from each parent. So if this parent's, they'll get A1 from parent A2. If they have A1, A2, their milk will be half and half. It'll be a combination of A1, A2. If they have both A1 genes, then their milk will be pure A1. They get both A2 genes, A2, A2, the milk will be all A2, A2. Now the issue here is that some people, and maybe more people are sensitive but don't have symptoms, is that A1 is not always digestible. So a lot of people who can't digest milk, it might assume that they're lactose intolerant, might actually just be A1 intolerant. Okay? There are some people who truly are lactose intolerant, but a lot of the people who think they are actually just unable to digest A1. So in the store, unless they genetically test all of their cows, their cattle, it's probably a mix of A1, A2 if you're buying milk from the store. Now for some people with raw milk, they just want the raw milk and they do fine on the A1, A2, but for people who are sensitive, they probably want to look for the A2, A2. Water buffalo are naturally A2, A2, so we don't even have to test for it because they're just A2 across the board. And that's actually true for like sheep and goats as well. So if you think you're sensitive to milk and you're willing to try, you can try some of our raw.
Which would also translate to the cheeses as well.
Exactly.
People who are sensitive to all dairy products, including cheeses, wouldn't have the same problem with water buffalo cheese.
Yes, that's a very good point. It extends to the other products as well,
Right.
for sure. And some people say I can have cheese, but I can't have milk, or some people just say I can't have any of it. So another reason that raw milk may be digestible for people is because raw milk has live enzymes in it, and those enzymes help to digest the very milk that you're consuming. Once that milk is cooked, so heated, aka pasteurized, and these are not FDA approved statements that I'm making, okay? Y'all need to do your own research and all of that. But the enzymes are alive and they will help you digest the milk. So there's like a whole chart, there's all these different enzymes in milk, and you can look it up, but when they're raw, it's like green. It's supportive of health, it's great for you. Now it gets cooked, some of those enzymes become neutral, meaning they're not benefiting you, but they're not really harming you either. But a lot of those enzymes actually become inflammatory and disease-causing once they're cooked down. It just gums up your system. Okay. So another thing about raw milk is it has loads of probiotics. So people are spending how much money on probiotics, or maybe they're not and they're having gut issues, or we really need to eat a diversity of foods that replenish our gut flora, and the raw milk is loaded with that. Okay? So raw milk is what historically people drink. We call it raw milk now. Back in the day, they just called it milk. Yeah. So if you were drinking milk, back then you were drinking raw milk. So yeah, it just used to be that way. It didn't have these subcategories. In Colorado, you can get raw milk through a private membership. It's different in each state. I believe California was one of the first to lead their raw milk program. I think in Wyoming, you could just get it in the store. Whether they carry it or not is another issue. But in Colorado, you can still get it, but you just need to do it through private membership. So it's lawful to drink milk from your own cow. So you get a herd share, so you get itty percentage, and you're leasing that percentage for a little bit of time, and then, if you want more information, you can talk to us afterwards. And also, if you want more information just on raw milk, okay, because there's loads of information out there, I'm just touching on it. This is really a water buffalo presentation, but we wanted you guys to see our motivation for it. You can go to for more information, you can go to the Weston A. Price Foundation at realmilk.com, and there's a wealth of resources there. All right, and where to find us? So we do carry membership opportunities to get our milk at Local Roots Market, that's in Wilsonburg. And actually, we have a fridge at Pajaros.
That's right, Karen at Casa de Pajaros has agreed to host a refrigerator for us too. So I can bring the milk there, leave it there for you.
Yeah.
Her hours are limited during the winter, but during summer she has
Yeah.
much more easier hours. to
It's
access.
all private though, so, you know, Local Roots Market is not part of us, we're not part of them. They were just really kind to let us use their space to put our fridge there. And we have cheese, and we'll have a variety of other cheeses as time goes on. Hopefully we'll be at the farmer's market this summer, but we're not so sure if we're actually gonna do that or not. And if you wanna learn more about us, you can go to myrawmilk.org. And there's information about raw milk there as well. All right, questions?
Great job.
I'm like, yes.
Wow.